Regarding you cracking IPS and now being an IAS, both of them are frankly prestigious roles. Why did you decide that you want to take another attempt for IAS?
I think it's a completely subjective call.
So, Pravimal, you and I are part of the same generation. I went to a school called St. Stephen's College, which has been famously known to send a lot of its young professionals to civil services. There must be something a little beneath the surface that maybe made you choose civil services and made Shatakshi choose private sector.
So what basically I would want is a diversity of problems, something that has a public interface and something that can keep me on my toes in terms of the learning. I think IAS perfectly fits into that category.
A 21-year-old is going to watch this and imagine the day in the life of an IAS, both the plus and the challenges. So could you just please walk us through that? More than happy, Pravimal, and privileged to be supporting your Invest Goa story. So, welcome
Yeah.
Pravimal to the Shatakshi show and the CEO diary. I am personally very excited to do this chat, given we have been planning this since a long period of time. You sit in a very important position at a very critical junction in the India's growth story. You are holding important position in Ministry of Transport, in Department of Industrial Work, and in the state Goa. So that's how I could perhaps introduce you to the world. I'm sure that there are multiple ways in which you would like to introduce yourself to the world as well. So over to you if you could help us with a brief introduction and then we'll take it forward from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Satakshi, for having me on this show. I'm Pravimal Abhishek. I'm an IAS officer of the 2017 batch, born on the Agmut cadre, and I'm currently serving in the state of Goa as the managing director of Goa Industrial Development Corporation, with an additional charge of the director of transport here.
If we were to go really, really back, why don't you help us understand when were you born? Which city is this? What kind of professions were your parents pursuing and are still pursuing? So would absolutely love to know about your childhood history.
I was born in a very small town in Andhra Pradesh called as Tenali. You must be aware of the Tenali Raman story. So that's where I was born. And but later on, my family moved to a place called Guntur. So currently, we are based out of Guntur in Andhra Pradesh. My father was a banker and my mother was a doctor. So we were a typical middle class family from Andhra Pradesh. And I had my education in Tenali. Later, I was in a boarding school for plus one and plus two. I did my graduation from IIT Madras, and it was basically during my graduation that my thoughts shaped around what profession I should pursue and what kind of career path I should take out. Fortunately, I was the secretary of the IIT Alumni Affairs at that point of time, and I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of IIT alumni who were in different sectors. Ranging from investment banking to startups to core engineering jobs, research, and civil services. So it was during that time I wanted to decide what best suits me.
Pretty interesting. I would certainly, of course, want to know your views, and I'm sure that anyone who is young enough would want to know the day in the life of an IS officer. We'll cover that maybe towards some bit in our podcast. I would want to take a little bit step back. So, Pravimal, you and I are part of the same generation. In fact, I went to a school called St. Stephen's College, which has been famously known to send a lot of its young professionals to civil services. Yet, I had that clarity since a long period of time that I am someone who will thrive in private sector. I genuinely believe that our ecosystem of family, the kind of college that we are part of, there must be something a little beneath the surface that maybe made you choose civil services and made Shatakshi choose private sector. So I'm kind of trying to go beneath a layer, what you had mentioned. Do you remember certain experiences or exposures that made you realize that this is just what I want to do? Or any turning or pivotal point कि यार यही करना है?
I mean, I cannot recall any such one single moment. I think it's an cumulative effect of various experiences and I had in my life. Honestly, obviously, my father was always keen on was motivating me towards civil services. But during my IIT days, I was also a part of this organization called as I Will. It's called IITs for Villages. So it's a student led society, and we used to go to the rural areas, just work only in one village, and specific subjects like education or livelihoods over there. and try and see how technology can help solve those problems. So that also played a partly an important role. But I think the biggest effect that I had was from my internship. So I did my internship in a private company, which is into automobile manufacturing. I did that internship for 3 months after my completion of my third year. And it was during that internship that I really got an experience of how the private sector jobs would be and how the mechanical engineering jobs would be. So I came back to this college with this thought that, okay, fine, after 1 year, this is where I have to be. And I knew that, I cannot be that person who would, walk into that company and deal with the same problem throughout the entire day, weeks together, months together. And I felt that was not really my cup of tea. So I just used the rest of the time that I had in my college to try and really understand what motivates me as a person, and try and do something that will keep that motivation going on in life. So what basically I would want is a diversity of problems, and something that has a public interface, and something that can keep me on my toes in terms of the learning. I think IAS perfectly fits into that category, and that's how I chose my career.
Pretty interesting. So, just to try and better understand your family structure, do you have siblings? If yes, are you the eldest or the youngest? Many a times, so I'm the youngest in the family. I have a theory that youngest turn out to be a little more rebellious because the burden of responsibility is borne very often by the eldest. Could be wrong. So, why don't you walk me through certain sibling structure in your family?
So we are three siblings. I have an elder brother and an younger sister. My elder brother is a doctor, and a younger sister is also a doctor. So I'm the middle child, and that's about it. And they are happy with their profession, and I'm happy with mine.
Yes. And if we were to go back to your IIT Madras days, I'm supposing this is 4 year. What was the life there? In what kind of what kind of value system were you imparted, if any? Did it shape you in the current shape of format you are in? So explain that life of IIT Madras student that you were in.
I think IIT Madras is where a lot of my personality got shaped. Firstly, there is a lot of open, free environment as a student of IIT Madras. We were given a lot of liberty, and and that is a great opportunity to, in that young age, to actually question things, to learn, and to engage in all sorts of conversations or debates that happen and all. Secondly, it's a great peer learning group. If I have a class of 20 people, I still have all my friends. They are doing so many different things and so many exciting things. Some of them are doing startups. A friend of mine is into manufacturing satellites. And I have learned a lot from my professors, from the environment that I had, and also from my own friends, and the classmates and the peer group. So I think a lot of what I am today can be attributed to the IIT Madras.
Pretty interesting, and that's saying something. And on that note, I have observed a correlation between students who crack IIT and those who crack UPSC. So I would be keen to know your views. Do you think it's the IIT Madras ecosystem or IIT Delhi or Kanpur, whatever IIT, that can help a student to further crack another competitive exam? Or was it your IIT in itself preparation strategy that eventually help a lot of IITians to crack another competitive exam like UPSC? So there is a correlation. In fact, there was a study why UPSC is being cracked by a lot of IITians. What would be your view based on your first-hand experiences?
Yeah, see, I don't think IITs encourage anybody to become IAS officers. IITs generally are giving the graduation courses so that engineers can be produced.
Yeah.
Now, a part of our education system is not just about acquiring skills, but also about finding a purpose and meaning in life. So for me personally, it was that journey that I found that. Um my purpose would be better served if I get into a leadership position in the government.
And just to be clear, I think what I meant to say in terms of data was that if there is a list of 900 students who have cleared UPSC, then many out of those come out of IIT. And maybe it's the rigorous process or it's just the way of life, because there is a set of students who have cracked IIT at a very young age. They kind of know maybe how to put the hard work once again for another exam. And once again, let's go back to now you are trying to graduate out of IIT Madras. So, did you crack UPSC in first attempt? If not, how many attempts did it take for you? If going back, do you remember any of the strategies that work out for you, even from mental well being to being calm on the D Day? If you could just walk us through that process.
I got into IPS on my third attempt and IAS in my fourth attempt. That was my journey, and I have no regrets about my journey. And it's all about the learning experience. So I came out of IIT. I did not have much of exposure to how the civil services exam is, and I tried to do a lot of self study in my first attempt, and it did not work out. And that's when I kind of moved to Delhi, tried to join a coaching institute, and kind of helped me to orient myself towards what the exam is and how it works. So I think that's about it. In terms of the strategy, there's only one simple thing that I always followed. That I quickly realized that every answer that you are writing in the paper is basically a form of communication to some unknown evaluator who's looking at that answer. So I broke down the entire exam into a very fundamental block, which can, like every, if you take every single question, it's just one response that you're writing to an unknown person to evaluate, so that he can decide whether I know enough about the subject or not. So instead of thinking about the whole of the exam and different papers, I looked at it like a small component of it, like one answer. And I made sure that, given the limited time and the limited space, uh, I'm able to put my best analysis and best understanding on the paper in the most readable, easy to understand format, so that the evaluator will be able to understand that I know enough of that subject, and that I can do analysis, and I can do conclusions on the basis of the analysis. And that's about it. So that's a very simple strategy, but it's a very powerful strategy because it kind of gives you that focus on what exactly is the most important thing in the exam.
I agree. It's a very powerful strategy. As someone who's been writing blogs since 2016, as a writer, I always emphasize on thinking about the communication that I want with that unknown stranger, which is a perspective shift completely that you want to communicate with that unknown stranger who is going to be an evaluator. Regarding you now cracking IPS and now being an IAS, both of them are frankly prestigious roles, but just cater to different segments. One relates to governance, another relates to law. So, why did you decide that you want to take another attempt for IAS? And maybe what was that journey? Had you joined your training? Were you able to take out the time? I'm asking once again because most of the youth in this country is either employed in private sector or in some shape or format with government, and they struggle with reattempting at the examination. So why IS over IPS? And follow-up question, how were you able to manage your time for this?
I think it's a completely subjective call. A lot of my friends I know, they want to be in IPS, and they always want to do that job, and it's a very individual choice. There is nothing other than that. So for me, I felt that this choice for me works to my aptitude, and that's exactly the reason why I thought I should give it another shot. But it's just an individual choice.
With that, Pravimal, I think we have covered a bit about your preparation strategy, about your childhood journey, and what your education journey was like. We'll take this to segue towards the Goa story, which is what we have been interacting since the last couple of interactions we have had. So, about investments in Goa. Goa, as the world knows, in fact, is a tourism destination. It hosts few of the breath taking views and beaches across the globe as well. and we are trying to build a story for Goa from Invest Goa point of view. So, what do you think are your perspectives? What are certain upcoming industries or sectors that can help Goa become the economic powerhouse that you're trying to build it towards? So yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, so I mean, if you talk about the economy of Goa, tourism any day is the most important aspect of the Goan economy. While that is said, I think a lot of contribution also comes from the industries, and this part of the Goa is not much known, not known to many people. You might be surprised to know that Goa is fourth largest pharma exporter of our country, and a state with such small size achieving some feat like that is an incredible thing. There are some very big pharmaceutical companies, electronic manufacturing companies, and all the industries put together contribute to the GDP as much as the tourism is contributing. And this is possible only because of a very strong enterprising community here and a very hardworking labor force over here. So Invest Goa was primarily a platform to showcase the story of those enterprising entrepreneurs from Goa, as well as to tell the rest of the country and also the world that Goa is just not a place of tourism, but it was also a great place to come and do business, especially the industry. We also did a lot of changes to our regulations as a measure of ease of doing business, and we felt that it is the right time to announce those changes to the industry. And there were also many opportunities for people to come and invest in Goa, and that's a very it's very important to pitch Goa to the investors, to the industries. So that's where Invest Goa came up, and we are very happy that we held the event, and there was a very good response, and we are continuing to do that work as a follow-up work for whatever we have achieved in Invest Goa.
Like I told you last time, it was indeed a success given the fact that we are also in process of making investments in Goa. So certainly a success, at least by that yardstick and mark. And with that, Pravimal, maybe we can talk about climate change and sustainability as well. Goa is what it is because of its heritage, because of its culture, because of its natural landscape. I was recently in Goa and I saw a phenomenon where a lot of people were just burning trash after just informally interviewing people. I was told about the poor waste management system compared to a lot of other states. Maybe that's not your department right now, but from the lens of your Department of Industrial Development Corporation, how do you think we can manage the culture, heritage, and the natural landscape and protect it while still having the economic development?
Yeah, so as I said, though Goa is a very strong industrial powerhouse, the land occupied by the industries, especially the industrial estates that the corporation has, occupies hardly 0.6% of the total geographical area of the state of Goa. So we are on a very small, component. We are occupying a very, very small component of the land that is available for Goa. And as per the act, the corporation is the local authority in all these industrial estates, and it has the mandate of managing the solid waste or any other functions that are otherwise performed by a local authority. So we have recently come out with a PPP model for the industrial estates to ensure door-to-door collection of the garbage, regular cleaning of the roads and drains. And I'm very confident and hopeful that within the next 2-3 months, we will be putting up the system that will enable regular garbage collection within the industrial estates. And I'm also very glad that we have been able to do this through a very participative approach. A lot of industry associations and a lot of local industry representatives participated in this exercise, and they were very keen on ensuring the cleanliness and also in ensuring the sustainability of the industrial estates. So while solid waste management is being taken care of, industries are also coming forward, and in the new regulations, we have created an enabling provision to provide incentives to industries for sustainability measures. So these include installation of rooftop solar power, efficient water management systems, or using sustainable materials for construction activities. These kind of incentives we are currently working on, and we will be rolling out. But as I said, while we do that, I can also tell you that a lot of industries in Goa, even without these incentives, have already started working on various sustainability measures. I can give you examples of industries where there is a excellent rainwater harvesting systems, a lot of solar rooftop solutions being deployed. And in the new regulations, we have also taken care of the pollution aspect, and the new regulations mandate that no red category industries will be allowed in Goa with the effect from the new regulations. So that way, while we are contributing to the economic development, we are ensuring that there is responsibility on all the stakeholders towards the environment, and we ensure that the development is sustainable.
With that, we'll take a full circle and kind of connect to what you started in the start, which is the day in the life of an IAS officer. When a 21-year-old is preparing for civil services, maybe from his or her small room in New Delhi or maybe in Andhra Pradesh, is imagining a life. And I am reading this beautiful book. I'm not sure if you have read Finding Purpose to Man's Life. Have you read it?
No.
Uh, it's about one of the very few prisoners who was able to escape out of Auschwitz concentration camp and how he was able to find meaning to life. He's from Vienna, psychotherapist. And he says one thing, one of the major reason why a prisoner was able to survive something like a concentration camp was optimism or a life for future. We are the only species compared to rest of the species on this planet who can imagine a future and survive a hard present. So, from that perspective, a 21-year-old is going to watch this and imagine the day in the life of an IAS, both the plus and the challenges, because many a time the social media doesn't glorify the challenge or talk about it. So, could you just please walk us through that?
As a person, I generally don't imagine too much of future. I only work, with an idea of what to do in the next 2 3 years or 5 years max. So when I was in college, I figured out I should make the most of my time available in IIT Madras, to learn new things, to get new experiences in life, and to find, to decide what to do in my life. When I decided it, I was focused on clearing the UPSC, but never focused on what I was going to do 10 years later on. Then when I got into UPSC, I know I had to go to Pondicherry or let's say, government of Delhi or Arunachal Pradesh. So once when I go there, that's when I decide what to do about the next 2 3 years. So when I before Goa, I was in Arunachal Pradesh, so I never knew that I would be coming to Goa. So there's no point of imagining my future also, because it cannot happen the way I imagined. So it's only when I came to Goa that I decided that in this 2 3 years that I spent in Goa, I will learn such and such things, and I should be able to do this much of work. So that way, I think I'm able to find my purpose by focusing on the immediate future and what is there in my hands, rather than looking at a very long term set of questions, which I've never done that exercise in my life.
Got it. And I'm sure there is madness to your schedule, but there must be certain fixedness to your schedule as well, or stableness. So, what does your day look like? Let's say in the current role and the current department that you are in.
If you ask, my day, typically it starts around 9:30, but before that, I do my morning routine to just make sure that I'm prepared for the day. That I
Walk us
either
through your morning routine.
like either I go for a brisk walk or a jog, or I go to the gym, or I go to play a
This is
sport.
what time?
So typically I do it at 6:37 ish, but these days I'm starting it as early as 6 o'clock. So I spend 1 hour of physical activity. Then I just sometimes some days I read a book, or I just do meditation, and then I have my quick breakfast, and then I come to work, so that I don't start the day with the work. So I feel little energetic after all that physical activity, and then my work uh, goes on till 6:37. Sometimes when there is a lot of work and there are some urgent meetings or issues, might spill over and go all the way up to 8:39. But typically a day ends at 7 o'clock. That's how it is.
Got it. And during the day, either it is visits or meetings as part of your schedule, and few podcasts like these.
Yeah. So a lot of prefixed meetings will be there, but public keep visiting the office, and then there will be some unscheduled meetings also. Uh, so we kind of manage it on the go.
Correct. What has been the most humbling experience as an IAS officer?
In terms of humbling experience, I think when you meet the public, um, you get to know that there is a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. So I can tell you once, I was in Arunachal Pradesh and I was talking to a lot of self-help group women, and I was trying to motivate them that they can do so many enterprising activities, and um, I was showing them videos of the self-help groups from the other states, but uh, they have they were like looking at it. They were all present in the meeting, looking at the videos, but I can see in their faces that there's some sort of a disbelief, or they feel that it is not possible for all those things to happen in their place. So they used to listen to me, but when they go out of my office, they always used to feel that that I came from somewhere, I'm just giving some gyan, and it's not relevant, or it cannot be done in that place. But when I visited, when I was in a village, I visited one of their homes, and I was having a casual conversation, not an office conversation, and I got to realize, and she told me that how what I was telling to them is not relevant for them, and it's not getting into their head. It's not relevant, but it's not getting into their head because they have never crossed the district in their life. So for them, the district headquarters was like the Delhi for me. So for them, their world is just in that small space. So it was so, I was, it was a great revelation, because I always thought that when you are giving knowledge to somebody, perhaps they can absorb it and try to do something about it. But they taught me that how important the perspective is, and how important perspective can shape the way you are absorbing knowledge and applying it in your life. So that's how I realized that I should not be the one speaking to them, and I decided that they should speak to their own peer group. And I quickly arranged one bus, got around 25 women from across the corner in the district, from different villages, and all of them volunteered, and I sent them for a 1 week or tour throughout Assam, and made them meet women of their age group in Assam, in other state. And I think that's when they have started believing in something, in believing in themselves. So these are things that that really change your perspective, and it gives you a completely new way of looking at things. So from a policy implementation point of view, these are very, very important nuances that we might think we know what we are doing, but it was a very, very humbling experience when that woman told me that what you're telling will never get into the head of the people over here, because this is the world that we live in.
This is certainly very, very humbling. I practice meditation every day, and there was an exercise for bigger picture perspective, that imagine the house you are living in, imagine the area you're living in, zoom out. So let's say South Bombay, then it's India, then it's Earth, then it's galaxy. But I'm just thinking, ki, how would someone imagine this if they have never gotten out of their district in Arunachal Pradesh? That
Correct.
dreaming is not there because you have never gone out.
There's
Um,
no inspiration.
yes, inspiration. On that note, I was recently talking to Mr. Ashok Lavasa, who's been the former election commissioner. And he has interestingly taken an ethics masterclass also at GGI, and we did a pod as well. Ethics, from what I understand, is a very integral component of civil services preparation and throughout the life as well. What is your view on the practical components of the ethical conundrum that an IAS officer goes through? Have you gone through a conundrum like that? What kind of practices do you have, or what kind of anchor or a north star you might have that can help you to take little tough decisions when there is no black or white and it's gray area?
I think first of all, a dilemma can exist only when there is a choice that has to be made between two goods. That's what I feel as an ethical dilemma. If there is a decision to be made between good and bad, there is no dilemma in it. You have to choose the good.
Correct.
It's only the dilemma crops up only when there is two options which are both good, and then you have to decide which one is the best one. But I think in such instances, there is no straitjacket formula that you keep this principle in mind, and wherever you find a dilemma, if you apply this principle, it's going to work. I think it's a combination of the value system that you have in your head and the circumstances that you are seeing in front of you, and how in that particular situation you are applying your value system to that situation and deciding which is the best option. So it's a case to case basis approach. There is no straitjacket formula to it.
I agree to that. In few situations, utilitarian approach could work, and in few other, utilitarian has taken more lives than many can imagine.
Yeah.
Classic example: Middle East attacks by a lot of Western nations. Value system, I always believe, Pravimal, is a very heavy word. It's a word that I spend a lot of time with to define my value system. And I very commonly ask a lot of guests who come to my podcast asking about their value system, to maybe take a leaf from their book or to maybe help the young audience who's going to watch it. Have you spent time with this word value system? If yes, what could be certain examples of value system for you?
I think honesty is the most important thing. We should be honest to ourselves and to the others, and uh, uh, that is the core of my value system. And secondly, I also feel that when you take a decision in your life, you should own it up, and do justice to that decision, and be trustworthy to others. And I think if you keep it simple that way, I think it won't be too consuming in terms of your thought process. So I just keep it very simple, and I don't brood over these things too much. But I just work on a very simple fundamental things, like just to to be honest with anybody in your conversations, to have the capacity to admit mistakes, and to be apology to tender an apology in case there's a problem. And yeah, I think if you do practice this much, I think uh, uh, that's my value system. So I don't consider too heavily about value system. I don't brood over it too much. uh,
Sure.
I like to keep it as simple as possible. Hmm.
With that, Pravimal, we are almost at the end of this podcast, and I have two more curiosities. The second last one about working culture. There is I think India and Indians in that rat race and in that support or evidence to make the India story great again are kind of feeling burdened now. And especially in the corporate, people are clocking in approximately 12, 13 hours every day. While on few occasions it might be needed, I personally, having spent a decade in corporate, I feel that on many occasions it's not needed. What's the scenario in government? How are you managing the working culture of your department? How are you, if responsible, managing the well-being of your team members, given that you're in leadership position?
Yeah, I first of all, I think one should delink oneself from all these, grand theories of making something great again and all those things, and just focus on what is there, the immediate, what the immediate task. Look at your desk and look at your office rather than thinking about, changing the world or bringing some, grand theoretical changes that are good for books and other stuff, but not for the day-to-day work. So I generally typically focus only on my desk work.
Mhm.
I want to finish that work, and I want to ensure that after I finish my work, I do not think much about the work.
How do
Um,
you cut off?
uh,
It's
and
hard to be in your situation cut off, right?
no, it's not really hard to cut off from the work.
Okay.
Uh, I do work a lot, but I try to bring in efficiency, and efficiency is something that's not useful to oneself, but also to the others. So I also typically, keep telling my staff also that it's very important that they leave the office on time,
Yeah.
and I do play sports after my work hours. So I
What
again,
sport?
like I play different types of sports. Like I sometimes I play squash, sometimes badminton, sometimes cricket. It depends upon the day and the people that you have. So I cut off myself from work, and I focus on other things that interest me, like sports, or I also like watching movies, or watching Formula One, and things like that, which are into my personal hobbies and liking. So that way it's one should cut off from the work and not get emotionally attached to it. And I feel that it's not a very very hard problem to solve. It's just that we need to know that we have to leave early in the office, and we can carry on that work the other day, but there will be certain circumstances for sure when the work has to be extended. Those are all understandable.
Got it. Fair enough. I completely love your statement around focusing on the desk and focusing upon the work, because a lot of leaders in this country are supporting long hours on the name of India story. And most of the times, the micro, when it gets added up, then the macro story becomes strong. My last question, Pravimal, is about dreams. But I fear we might not get to a very good answer, given that you like to look at 2 to 5 years time horizon. So I always like to dream. I'm a dreamer, and that is how I have reached whatever small place that I have reached in life. You in the starting said that you look at 2 to 5 years horizon. Of course, that could also mean dreaming. But what are your mini dreams in life? Could be personal, professional, 2 to 5 years in the horizon, or if you have 10 years or 20 years in horizon. But just trying to understand and uh, declutter what could be the dreams for Pramable.
I don't think I am a great dreamer in that sense. Perhaps dreams are the places where you can imagine, the possibilities that you can otherwise not do in real life. But I don't think I'm a great dreamer. I just focus on ensuring that I'm doing my best at the moment in terms of my abilities. Uh, and I'm taking every opportunity that is coming my way and making the most of it. That's it. I focus only on that much, and I'm not a dreamer, and uh I don't know how it works.
Remove dreamer, but is there a visual of a life that you have for yourself? For example, Goa is a lovely place. In fact, I was recently talking to an additional secretary based out of Goa. And I think she was previously in the coal department. She was in tourism department. Now she's in coal department, and she spoke highly of Goa as a state. And do you think that you would want to stay here, or would you be more than happy to move out, or so along those lines, maybe?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So even if I dream about being in Goa, unless I get an opportunity to be in Goa, that dream is never going to be fulfilled, and it's not in my hands. So I really can't imagine that I will be in Goa, or here and there. So wherever life takes me, I'll go there and I'll try to do my best. That's all. That's how I work.
Perfect. Here's to giving your best in life. That could be the last comment on wrapping up. But thank you so much, Pravimal, for doing this for our audience and for sharing the Goa story, for sharing your own personal story. I'm very sure that people across this country and outside will take a lot of inspiration. Would be more than happy if you may want to have last words for our audience who's going to be in the age bracket of 18 till 30. A few of this will watch this if they want to become an IAS. Few of them will watch this to know about the Goa story. So over to you for last comments.
I think 18 to 30 is the age bracket when you should not be bothered about any risk in life, and experiment with whatever you want to do. Um, uh, there are a lot of people in this country who do not have the opportunity to do that experiments. That is something we should all be aware of. And those who are listening to this, and those who have the capacity to prepare for civil services, or to do a startup, or those who have even graduated, must realize that you are probably a blessed few who have that that backing to complete your education properly, and to have this opportunity to think about your future, think about doing something that is according to your passion. So that is a great blessing in itself, and then just don't throw it away. And also have a lot of appetite to take risk in life, and it's okay even if you fail. There is no harm in it. But once you hit 30s, I think that appetite, that capacity to take the risk starts gradually declining. So it's better to risk it when you are young, because you can always uh, do something else and rebuild from wherever you are. So have that awareness that there's a lot of blessing already, and also the fact that you should take maximum risk in life to do whatever you want.
Very beautiful. Here's to taking maximum risk. Here's to also giving your best in life, and more than happy, Pravimal, and privileged to be supporting your Invest Goa story. Thank you so much.